Hello everyone, I hope you guys are doing great and studying really hard for your upcoming examinations. This video is for all the CMA final students who are going to appear for the examinations of Group 4 and paper number 17. So this video is particularly for your paper number 17, guys. So all the CMA final students, as you know, that new syllabus has come up, the syllabus 2022, and Institute has made quite a few changes in all your subjects, and particularly talking about your cost and management audit, topics like anti-money laundering and forensic audit, cyber security, cyber audit, ESG audit, and such topics have been introduced. These are the main topics, the major changes that have been made in your paper number 17. But don't worry, guys, now I'm here and I'm going to make it very simple for you guys. So in this particular class, we are going to cover the topic forensic audit. That is chapter number 17, and I'm going to use the institute study material only. So no worries about any notes or anything as such. We are simply going to follow the institute study material. And if you study with me, this class is going to be an overview, or I can say a synopsis of the entire chapter. I'll make you go through the entire chapter, and make you mark the important parts as per me. Okay, it will be according to my intuition that what questions can be asked from this chapter, as this is the first time that we are going to face a paper in which forensic audit, anti-money laundering, and all the new topics may be asked. All right, so as you can see, you can just open to page your chapter number 17 as per your new institute study material. Okay, you can see that they have divided the module into 5 parts, but guys, it's not that easy. Okay, it's not just 5 parts if you see the number of pages. So what I have done is, very simply, very quickly, I'll show you. I have divided this topic for you, this chapter for you, basically into 20 parts, as you can see. Don't worry, we'll go through each and everything, but in short, okay, in very quick, as an overview, I already told you, and thereafter, after doing this class, you will just go through the chapter once again and learn it. All right, so you can see I have divided this chapter into these parts. We are going to do the meaning of forensic audit, the reasons of forensic audit, the functions, or you can say the steps, okay, the functions of forensic audit. When do we have to get forensic audit done? Guys, don't worry. I know it's a new term for you, but trust me, by the end of this class, you will feel very confident with this topic. All right, then steps in forensic audit, business frauds, the meaning, reasons, and example. What is actually the meaning of the term fraud? Then fraud triangle is a very hot topic in this chapter. Okay, very important also, again, as per me. Okay, red flags, fraud as per Companies Act and as per SEBI. Then financial forensics, where is financial forensics essential? What are the qualities of a forensic auditor? The forensic audit techniques we'll do in brief. Then there are some ethical issues in businesses because of which frauds take place. So examples of those and resolutions. How to reduce the ethic risks. Code of conduct for auditors. What are the fundamental principles that as an auditor we need to follow? Threats to the auditor's independence. Then standards of examination and reporting. Challenges in implementing the ethical policies. Now, what are the professional opportunities for you guys when you become qualified CMAs? Can we become forensic auditor, ma'am? Yes, you can become. How? That we'll do in that part, the topic number 19, and increased need of forensic accounting. Why has this topic become so important in the recent days? All right, so this is a quick overview of what we are going to do in this class, how I have divided the chapter, so that when you have the topics on your hand, on your fingers, it becomes easier for you to understand the chapter, and to especially in theoretical subjects, it becomes easier for you to learn and memorize the chapter. Okay, so let us start with the chapter, the first topic, that is the meaning and introduction of the forensic audit. meaning and introduction. Many times I have seen in the institute study material, they have repeated topics. Okay, for example, they have given in the introduction also, they have given the meaning of forensic audit, and thereafter they have also given the forensic audit over here, and then again, you know, in meaning of forensic audit is given in the 17.1 topic also. So I will just go through all the relevant portions with you in this class. All right, so let's start. First of all, ma'am, what is the meaning of this term forensic audit? A lot of you may be aware, but those of you who do not know what is forensic audit. So basically, this term forensic audit, already we know, audit is nothing but review and examination. It may be of anything. If it's of financial statements, we call it the financial statements of audit. If it's related to the internal controls, we call it the internal audit. Similarly, what is forensic audit? Okay, the word forensic means of use in the court of law. Okay, of use in the court of law. So in forensic audit, when we are analyzing and reviewing maybe the financial statements of an entity, our objective in forensic audit is to find out evidences. Okay, listen to me very carefully. This is the crux of forensic audit. We need to find out those evidences which can be used in the court of law during any proceeding or litigation. Am I clear? Yes, so basically it is the normal audit, the traditional audit only, you can say, but this time it is going to the court. That means matter kuch zyada bada ho raha hai, because it's related to fraud, embezzlement, okay, treason. So because of all these reasons, we have to find out evidences which can be used in the court of law. And you know, a very interesting thing, forensic auditors, if you are conducting the forensic audit of any entity, you may be asked to be an expert witness during a trial or a litigation. So evidence तो खोजना ही है हमें, sufficient, appropriate भी होना चाहिए, and at the same time it should be relevant and reliable to be used in the court of law. Is it clear? So this is the basic crux of what is forensic audit, ma'am. And now coming to why is there a need of forensic audit? As I already told, as there is increase in the number of businesses and you know, so many big companies, there is a lot of increase in cases of fraud, forgery, corruption, extortion. Okay, you in everyday news headlines we hear this company has done a fraud of this much crores, and then they are being, you know, punished by the SEBI. Litigations are going on, investigations are going on. So because of all these reasons, forensic audit has become more important. Can you name a few cases that we have heard of? The famous, if I go to the olden days, you know, Enron, then we have Satyam, okay, Sahara, then we have Harshad Mehta case, if you remember. Recent times, if I talk of ILFS, Axis Bank, okay, ICICI Bank, all these have come in the news due to some case, some incidents of fraud, some instances of fraud or embezzlement. All right. So let's start now with this introduction. The first topic was the meaning of forensic audit. So you will also keep marking with me so that you get to know what are the relevant portions that you need to be aware of. A forensic audit is an analysis and review. Analysis and review of what? Of the financial records of a company, either of a company or person. What is the purpose? The purpose of this forensic audit is to extract facts which can be used in the court of law. Can be used in the court of law. So this is the highlight. You can say this is the meaning of forensic audit. Okay. Now forensic audit is a specialty in the accounting industry, and most major accounting firms have a department of forensic audit. Alright, you can say forensic audit as a type of an investigation, okay? It's a type of an investigation. It starts with a suspicion. It starts with the notion in mind that something is wrong. But audit, when we have learned audit, you know, in inter we have learned that audit is not an investigation. We don't think कि कुछ गलत हो रहा है इसलिए audit करते हैं, ठीक है? Audit कर रहे हैं to just verify the accounts and to give an opinion on the truthness and fairness of the FSTs, of the financial statements. But here it starts with a suspicion. You can just see over here. Okay, I'm not going through each and every line because I told you it's an overview. You can just go through it again. I have explained you the meaning. Forensic audit begins with the suspicion and doubt and ends with the performance of investigation procedures, either to confirm the case or to dispel the suspicion. तो या क्या हो सकता है? Either what you suspected is true, it's found true and with the support of some evidences, or it is dispelled. That means what you suspected is not true. All right. Unlike financial audits are more focused on statutory compliance, but forensic audits, they are designed to investigate the financial records. If you are asked in the exam to compare financial audits and forensic audits, can you do so? You can first explain the meaning of both. What is the purpose? The purpose of financial audit is to express an opinion on whether the financial statements show a true and fair view. Okay, but the purpose of the forensic audit is to perform investigative procedures, either to confirm or dispel a suspicion. The financial audits do not start with a suspicion, but forensic audits, they do start with suspicion. All right. For conducting financial statement audit in India, a person has to be a chartered accountant, but forensic audit can be conducted by forensic auditors. Now, who can become forensic auditors? The people who qualify the specified examinations. Okay, there are specified examinations for this forensic auditor to become an expert in this field. If you qualify that, you can become a forensic auditor. Is it clear? Yes. Now you have to come to the previous page. You know, the institute has given topics according to them, but if we have to have a flow in what we are studying, we first need to understand the meaning, and the meaning was more clear in that part. Now this topic is the reasons of forensic audit, why it is conducted. Okay, why are there increase in instances of forensic audit. Okay, so what you will do, you will just mark anything. Maybe you can do a star mark or any you can mark it with a different type of a pen to highlight portions from where questions are probable to be asked in your exams. There's a high probability कि इस एरिया से क्वेश्चन आ सकता है. देखो क्वेश्चन दूसरे भी एरिया से आ सकता है, बट this is according to what is my judgment. Okay, so the first point is corruption. The reason is corruption. What is corruption? What do you mean by corruption? Basically, when there are, differences in the socio-economic development, there is a difference in the levels of management. They are using their position, okay, to pose certain ill effects to the company, which is not good for the company, but they are doing for their own personal gain. ओके, सो बेसिकली मैं जिस पोजिशन पे हूँ, अगर मैं उसका गलत इस्तेमाल कर रही हूँ, इलेजिटिमेट यूज ऑफ माई पोजिशन or dishonest behavior on my part which is harming the organization, but it's good for my personal, it's giving me some kind of a personal gain, then it's called corruption. All right, so you can just mark over here, it is a significant obstacle to socio-economic development. Basically, what is corruption? It consists of any illegitimate use of office or dishonest behavior and its resources. So here the forensic auditor will look into the accounts, what are the instances of corruption, उससे क्या क्या गलत हुआ है organization में, what are the conflict of interest between the management and the organization, the company. Then it will gather evidence and issue a report on that, okay, if corruption is the reason. The second one is extortion, okay. You can also give the numbering, it becomes easier that way. Extortion is something more than corruption. धमकी, हिंदी में कहते हैं धमकी. किसी को धमका के, डरा के, खौफ बिठा के कुछ गलत काम करवाया जाना, ठीक है. सो इट इज द यूज ऑफ थ्रेट और फोर्स और मे बी वायलेंस ऑल्सो, दैट इफ यू डोंट डू दिस आई विल डू दिस टू योर फैमिली मेंबर्स. ऐसा बोलने से तो लोग पैसा दे ही देंगे, ओके. सो टू गेट illegal advantage out of someone by use of force or threat or violence is called extortion. So this is also one of the reasons. Extortion involves the use of force, threat, violence to extract money from another person or party. सप्लायर को बोल दिया अगर ऐसे इस रेट पे माल नहीं दोगे, अगर आप बिल को हायर रेट पे नहीं करके दोगे, कंपनी से ज़्यादा पैसा नहीं मिलेगा आपको. आपको कंपनी से सपोज एक चीज़ का रेट है ₹20, सप्लायर को बोला कि ₹20 के हिसाब से बिल मत करो, ₹25 के हिसाब से करो. कंपनी विल गिव यू ₹25 एंड देन यू विल गिव मी द डिफरेंस ₹5. इफ यू डोंट डू सो I will cancel all your contracts with the company. I am at that position. Okay, so इस टाइप की कुछ धमकी को यूज करके गलत फायदा उठाना. नेक्स्ट रीजन इज द ब्राइबरी. ब्राइबरी मतलब आपको सबको पता है घूस, ओके, हिंदी में कहते हैं घूस. It refers to the conduct of dishonestly influencing one's position or role to receive something as well as promising something favorable to the party demonstrating such benefit. किसी को ये बोलना कि तुम मुझे घूस दो, मैं तुम्हारा भी फायदा करवाऊं. So dishonestly influencing one's position or role. I am using my position in a dishonest manner. Why I am doing so? To receive something favorable. मेरा फायदा हो and promising the other party also कि मैं आपका भी फायदा करवाऊंगा. So in this case also forensic audit comes into picture. So this is point number 3. Point number 4 is conflict of interest. Company wants something else, management wants something else. Okay, so the interest of the management and the company are not the same. So conflict of interest is another reason. Very important, fraud. What is fraud? We'll study this later, but all of you barely know on the surface what fraud actually means. It is any illegal or deceptive action, okay, either the doing of an action or not doing a particular thing, omission of an action which is causing, by the use of deception, which is causing a wrongful gain or a harm to another party. That's the basic meaning of fraud. So fraud कहाँ पे हो सकता है? Why do frauds take place, or what are the instances of fraud? False and willful representations. Management has given some false representation that we call as assertion, right? Perpetrator of the representation. The perpetrator of representation, that means the preparer of that representation has falsely prepared it. Or when there is an intention to cheat, okay? And the representation, it should be related to a fact of the entity, okay, it should be related to a fact. Or when we are concealing, chupana, when we are hiding some facts, then the representation should have deceived the other party or any other act which is causing deception, that is cheating. Cheating के लिए कोई भी काम किया जाना is fraud. Clear? The 6th point is asset misappropriation. What is the meaning of misappropriation? हिंदी में समझाऊं तो हेर फेर करना. For example, let's say I am the cashier, I am getting cash for selling of goods and services, but I am not depositing that cash with the entity. I am keeping it in my pocket. Okay, that's asset misappropriation. Or another example, if you take adding fake employee names to the payroll. I am adding those names to my payroll to the payroll of my company who are non-existent. मैम ऐसा कैसे हो सकता है? दुनिया है, सब पॉसिबल है, इम्पॉसिबल तो कुछ है नहीं, और गलत काम करने में तो लोगों का दिमाग और आगे रहता है, ठीक है. सो आई एम एडिंग फेक एम्प्लॉई नेम्स टू द पेरोल एंड आई एम पेइंग सैलरी टू दोज, बट डू दे एग्जिस्ट? नो. वेयर इज द सैलरी, वेयर इज दैट अमाउंट फंड गोइंग? इन माई बैंक अकाउंट indirectly. So this is misappropriation of assets. You can go through it later. The last point over here, the seventh reason, is financial statement fraud, which is one of the most popular reasons of frauds in big companies like Enron, where you must have heard the term cooking of the books of accounts. Cooking of the books of accounts. What does it mean? The financial statements are not prepared as per the generally accepted accounting principles. Okay, some kind of hair-fair is done in accounting. Deliberately, the management, or you can say the preparers of the financial statements, are making misstatements or omission of certain important facts which should be disclosed in the financial statements. They are not doing so. So all these are financial statement frauds. Overstating the revenues, or deferring the recognition of income and expenses to another period. इस साल मेरी बहुत ज़्यादा सेल हो गई, बहुत ज़्यादा सेल होने से बहुत प्रॉफिट आएगा, टैक्स ज़्यादा देना पड़ेगा, उसको कम करने के लिए क्या किया, रेवेन्यू को दूसरे पीरियड में रिकॉर्ड कर दिया, नेक्स्ट पीरियड में, नेक्स्ट फाइनेंशियल ईयर में. सो ऑल दीज अकाउंट फॉर फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट फ्रॉड्स. इज इट क्लियर? Yes. So we have done 2 topics till now. The next topic is the functions of forensic audit. Okay, it's there in the next topic in as per your book. Okay, 17.1. You can go through it. Functions of forensic audit. Again, I am putting a ghanti over here. You can give your own important mark whatever you are giving. So functions of forensic audit, basically here they are talking about the basic steps, or what are the basic things that you need to do in a forensic audit. So 4 points are there. First, planning the investigation. Just like we plan our normal traditional financial audit, we need to plan our forensic audit as well. Okay, what are the objectives of forensic audit? We need to understand those. Next, we have to collect the evidence. We have to collect evidence which are sufficient, reliable sources which can be put in front of the court of law if required. All right, so the evidence gathered should be sufficient to prove in court the identity of the fraudsters, reveal the details of the fraud scheme, and document the financial loss suffered and the parties affected by fraud. So first point was planning, second is evidence collect karo, third is reporting. Now that you have planned, you have performed the audit, you have collected evidence, you need to issue a report. Ma'am, is there a particular format for forensic audit report? Like we have cost audit report, like we have for financial statement audit report? No, no particular format is there, but the auditor should ensure that all the material facts are being disclosed in the report. A forensic audit will need a written report on the crime to be given to the client so that if they desire, they can continue to file a legal case. And the last step is court proceedings. As I already told you at the start of the lecture, that forensic audit, when we are conducting, our objective is to gather such evidence which can be presented in the court of law. So during court proceedings, the forensic auditor must be present to clarify the evidence collected and how the suspects were found by the team. So, सफाई देने के लिए आपको मौजूद होना पड़ेगा. Is it clear? So, let's just go back to our table. From here, we have done the meaning of forensic audit, the reasons, and the functions. Okay? So the next topic is when to get forensic audit done. That is, what is the need of forensic audit. Business company में ऐसा क्या होगा जब forensic audit कराने की ज़रूरत पड़ेगी. So let's come to our book. The topic is need for forensic audit. Need for forensic audit. So there are 5 instances given here. Number 1 is theft of business information, or when the business systems of a company are hacked. Okay, कंपनी का सर्वर हैक हो गया, इंफॉर्मेशन जो कॉन्फिडेंशियल थी वो लीक हो गई, थेफ्ट हो गया, चोरी हो गई इंफॉर्मेशन की, then forensic audit has to be conducted. issues identified by whistleblowers. Whistleblowers. Who are whistleblowers? नाम से समझ में आ रहा है? Whistle मतलब क्या? सीटी. सीटी जिसने बजाई. सीटी जब बजी तो सब लोगों को पता चल गया. So from here the name, actually comes whistleblowers. Basically, when any issue is being concealed, any particular fact is concealed by the management or the company, which if leaked in the market, or if such information reaches to the investors and in the market, it will cause harm to the company, it will be unfavorable to the company. तो अपने फायदे के लिए वैसी इंफॉर्मेशन छुपाई जा रही है. अब अगर मैं कंपनी की एम्प्लॉई हूँ, मैंने जाके रेगुलेटर्स को ये बात बता दी, आई वुड बी कंसिडर्ड अ विसल ब्लोअर. सो इफ एनी इशू इज आइडेंटिफाइड बाय अ विसल ब्लोअर, in that case forensic audit has to be conducted. Next point is reconciliations resulted in unidentified material differences during the course of financial statement audit or cost audit or internal audit. If any material difference is found out during reconciliation, then of course उस पे action लिया जाएगा. We have to get further forensic audit being to be conducted. Then if there is a suspicion related to fraud or any illegal activity, ऐसा लग रहा है कि कंपनी में कहीं ना कहीं कोई फ्रॉड हो रहा है या कोई इलीगल एक्टिविटी हो रही है, सस्पिशन है, तो फोरेंसिक ऑडिट हैज टू बी कंडक्टेड. लास्ट पॉइंट इज व्हेन द टर्नओवर ऑफ द कंपनी इज हाई but still the PL account is showing that the company is going into losses. If turnover is so high, how can there be losses? Okay, it may be a genuine case, but investigation करने का ज़रूरत है, right? So there's a need for forensic audit. All right, suspicious of fraud or illegal activity and turnover has occurred, but balances are showing negative results. So we just mark it as a probable question area. Need for forensic audit. Forensic audit procedures, this topic we'll be doing later because in further pages it's given in detail, so we'll be doing that. Over here just you can mark an attitude of professional skepticism. Okay, that means the forensic audit has to be conducted with an attitude of professional skepticism. We have already learned this in our inter also, that any audit, when we are conducting cost audit or financial statement audit, auditor always has to be professionally skeptical. एक questioning mind होना चाहिए. You have to adopt a scientific approach for conducting the audit. But when it comes to forensic audit, you have to be more professionally skeptical. जहाँ भी कुछ सस्पिशन आ रहा है, रेज अ क्वेश्चन, गेट इट आंसर्ड, ओके, कॉल फॉर विटनेसेस. आपको बहुत ही क्यूरियस होना पड़ेगा टू बिकम अ फोरेंसिक ऑडिटर. This topic over here, we'll cover it in the topic of fraud triangle. Okay, to be covered in fraud triangle. Okay, the next topic here is investigation methodology of forensic audit, wherein we'll be studying the steps of forensic audit. Okay, it's a 9-step procedure, 9-step approach. An auditor can follow a 9-step approach for fact finding in case of forensic audit engagement. So you can write over here 9 steps are there. Okay, if you remember what we studied in inter and even in your final CA cost and management audit, what is the first step when we are conducting any audit? Ma'am, we need to accept the engagement. We have to understand the terms of the engagement and we have to frame what? Remember, audit engagement letter. Okay, and the audit engagement letter will contain all the terms and the prerequisites of your audit. After that only you can start the audit. So same for forensic audit, the first step is to accept the audit engagement. After accepting, ma'am, what we'll do? We started the audit. Why? We started this audit with a suspicion or an allegation. कुछ गलत हो रहा था तभी तो हमें expert को बुलाया गया था ना. Now we will evaluate this allegation or suspicion. समझेंगे उसको, evaluate करेंगे मतलब समझेंगे और उसके ऊपर study करेंगे. Alright. Next, we will conduct due diligence background checks. Okay, what is due diligence? It is again a fact finding process. Mostly due diligence, is conducted when the investors want to know whether we should invest in this company or not. I'm talking about due diligence in general, okay, not in context of forensic audit, but in general it is conducted at places where the investors need to know whether we should invest in this company or not. So the auditor, will study all the financials and advise upon that, issue a report. So similar, in this case, due diligence background notes should be conducted to check the integrity of the management, the level of corporate governance. So all these background checks need to be done. After that, we have to complete the preliminary stage of investigation. We need to perform our procedures and interview people if we want in the organization. So we need to conduct the preliminary risk assessment, you can say. Then after that, we have to check the predictions assuming that there will be a litigation. जो भी हम प्रोसीजर परफॉर्म करेंगे इस हिसाब से परफॉर्म करने हैं दैट वी आर कंसिडरिंग दैट देयर विल बी सम सॉर्ट ऑफ litigation. According to that, we have to find out the evidences. Thereafter, an external investigation. We have to conduct an independent external investigation. We can call for representations from, external parties, independent representations we can call for. We have to be, professionally skeptical and perform our investigation. Then we will gather the required proofs and evidence, prepare a report on our findings, and finally, in the beginning of the lecture, I told you forensic audit, what is a highlighting feature? That there may be a litigation, and there generally is a litigation, and we will be called for explanation on the evidences. All right. So court proceedings is the last step. All right. So these are the 9 steps for conduct of forensic audit. Common areas of forensic audit we have already done. Okay. So you can just strike this off. We have already covered it. Over here, you can just mark this term financial fraud, popularly known as white collar crime. We all have heard this term white collar crimes in newspaper headlines and articles. White collar crimes are those crimes which are directly associated with an entity's finance. Okay, छोटा मोटा crime नहीं, मतलब कहीं चोरी कर ली, theft, robbery हो गया छोटा सा कुछ, या फिर even the civil crimes like your criminal crimes like your murder, okay, or rape or cases like these. It's not that. It is white collar crimes. मतलब white collar मतलब क्या हो गया, मैनेजर टाइप के लोग, बड़े बड़े लोग इस तरह का काम कर रहे हैं. Okay, hence the name white collar crimes. Any which way, it is related to financial frauds. Next topic is business or corporate frauds. Ma'am, what is a business fraud? So fraud, we all know it is any illegal action, any action meant for deception, which is, there's a use of deception, tools for deception, cheat करने के लिए कुछ काम किया जा रहा है, उसे कहते हैं fraud. When this fraud is happening in any corporate entity, in any company, it is termed as corporate fraud. So 3 actions are there in corporate fraud. तीनों में से कुछ भी हुआ तो fraud का indication है. One is any illegal activity. Illegal activity means that something that is against law, any law, okay. Then any unethical activity, something that is against ethics. कुछ ऐसा काम किया जो moral principles allow नहीं करता फिर भी हमने किया. Or any deceptive action, किसी को cheat करने के लिए हमने कुछ काम किया. किसने किया? मैम, या तो कंपनी ने किया या कंपनी के किसी एम्प्लॉई ने किया. आइदर ऑफ द टू. या तो कंपनी ने खुद किया. कंपनी खुद कैसे करेगी? दैट मीन्स द सीनियर मैनेजमेंट एंड ऑल, ओके. या फिर कंपनी के किसी एम्प्लॉई ने किया. बोथ आर कवर्ड अंडर कॉर्पोरेट फ्रॉड्स. ओके, वील डू इट फ्रॉम द समरी ओवर हियर. Corporate fraud consists of illegal deceptive actions committed either by a company or an individual who is an employee of the company. Now these corporate frauds, आर सो वेल डिजाइंड, इतने अच्छे से इनको, बहुत जिनका शातिर दिमाग होता है ना, वैसे लोग कर रहे हैं ये कॉर्पोरेट फ्रॉड्स. तो ये इतने कॉम्प्लिकेटेड होते हैं दैट इट रिक्वायर्स अ टीम ऑफ प्रोफेशनल्स, यू नो, अ टीम ऑफ फोरेंसिक अकाउंटेंट्स, एंड दे ऑल्सो टेक maybe, you know, they will take years to detect such frauds. So they are very well designed and very complicated, I would say. Now when massive corporate fraud is eventually discovered, जब पता चलता है कि ऐसा फ्रॉड चल रहा था, और फ्रॉड चल रहा है मतलब ऐसा नहीं कि तुरंत चला और पकड़ा गया. It is going on since years, since a long period of time. So when it is actually discovered, the entire company may shut down, it may go down. And imagine when a company goes down, how many people get affected because of that. The employees get affected directly, the banking and financial institutions get affected, the creditors, the suppliers, the customers, the government, everybody, the public at large is affected when a big company goes down. We all have heard of cases like Enron, WorldCom, then your Satyam, Sahara in India, Harshad Mehta case, the recent cases of ILFS, Axis Bank, ICICI Bank. You know, all these, when any big corporate fraud takes place, it affects many people at large. Now let's come to the next part, that is why do these corporate frauds happen. मैम आखिर करते क्यों हैं लोग ऐसा फ्रॉड. तो एक बार के लिए इमेजिन करते हैं, हमें ऐसा बनना नहीं है हालांकि, बट लेट्स जस्ट टेक एन इंस्टेंस वेयर यू आर the director or say the senior management of any company. Why would you do such an illegal activity? Think of it. मैम शायद मुझे कोई ऐसा फ़ायदा चाहिए जो मुझे अदरवाइज नहीं मिल रहा है. यस, सो दैट्स व्हाट वी कॉल एज ग्रीड. दिल मांगे मोर, जो मिल रहा है उससे खुश नहीं. सो व्हेन देयर इज अ ग्रीड ऑन द पार्ट ऑफ द मैनेजमेंट, ओके, देन कॉर्पोरेट फ्रॉड्स टेक प्लेस. व्हेन वी हैव एन इंटेंशन टू रिटेन आवर इन्वेस्टर्स, कंपनी में लॉसेज हो रहा है, अगर लॉस दिखाऊंगी तो मेरे इन्वेस्टर भाग जाएंगे, तो मुझे क्या करना है, आई हैव टू शो माई कंपनी टू बी मोर प्रॉफिटेबल दैन इट एक्चुअली इज. ओके, सो फॉर डूइंग दैट मुझे क्या करना पड़ेगा, गलत रास्ता अपनाना पड़ेगा. गलत रास्ता क्या है, आई हैव टू कुक द फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स, कुकिंग ऑफ द बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स, or I'll have to do some other apply some other means, corruption, extortion करके investors को रोकना पड़ेगा. So that is when financial frauds take, corporate frauds take place. One of the reasons. Second reason, मैंने कुछ ऐसा प्रोडक्ट बनाया जो डिफेक्टिव निकला. अब अगर डिफेक्ट लोगों को पता चल गया, ठप. ओके, my entire production will shut down. I'll have to bear so much of losses for doing large scale production. So to hide the defects or to hide the deficiencies in my product, I will engage in some kind of a fraud. So the two reasons are the desired or perceived need to attract or retain investors. Okay, so to make a company appear more profitable than it actually is. You can just go through it later, I'm just explaining it to you. And second point is problems or defects with the company's product. So in an attempt to hide certain side effect or dangers, to hide the deficiencies of my product, I may engage in corporate frauds. So I am just putting an mark over here that question may be asked from this part also. Now the next topic is the examples of corporate frauds. So we are just doing corporate frauds right now. We have done what are corporate frauds, okay, how are they designed, what can the auditor do to, you know, आइडेंटिफाई कॉर्पोरेट फ्रॉड्स. अगर कॉर्पोरेट फ्रॉड हुआ तो ऑडिटर को और प्रोफेशनल स्केप्टिसिज्म मेंटेन करना है. देन वी डिड द रीजंस व्हाई कॉर्पोरेट फ्रॉड्स हैपन. नाउ वी आर गोइंग टू डू सर्टेन एग्जांपल्स, बट गाइज आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू एक्सप्लेन द फ्रॉड केसेस in detail because that will take, you know, a 3-hour class to explain the case of one company. So we are not doing that right now. I'm just giving you an overview of it. Excuse me. Yeah. So the first case is Enron. Enron is was an energy giving company in the US, and what it actually did was it designed special purpose vehicles, special purpose entities. और वो क्या करती थी, जो डेट वो रेज करती थी ना दूसरे कंपनीज के नाम पे, अपने SPEs जो थी उसकी SPVs, You all have done this in corporate accounts, right? SPVs उनके नाम पर डेट दिखाती थी जिससे कि उसका बुक्स क्लीन दिखे. Again, it followed a mark to market method for its financial statements. Market value पे सब चीज़ों को value करना, not on historical cost. So that is right. It is accepted as per the gap also, but you can't do it very frequently. Mark to market को वो गलत इस्तेमाल करती थी by way of marking it up and down as and when required. So manipulation के लिए उसको use किया जाता था. Again, it जो debt reconstruction का मैंने बोला, एक्सक्यूज मी, डेट को एसपीवीज में दिखाना, पुअर कॉर्पोरेट गवर्नेंस था, टॉप मैनेजमेंट ही सही नहीं थी. व्हाट इज कॉर्पोरेट गवर्नेंस? रिमेंबर, टोन एट द टॉप. So this corporate governance was also not good. So because of all these reasons, the company, what it did, it hid the losses for several years. The share prices went up. I can say up till $90.75, जितना मुझे facts ध्यान में है. And suddenly when the fraud got discovered, the auditor was Arthur Andersen. When the fraud was discovered, Arthur Andersen भी मिली हुई थी उनके साथ. They were giving opinion on financial statements where the books were cooked, the policies were not properly followed. But the auditor was also, with them in this. Suddenly, when it got discovered, the company the share prices went down, and it affected so many shareholders. It came to around $0.25 or 26. Imagine कितना loss हुआ होगा लोगों को. So this is one of the biggest case in the history of US, जिसके वजह से, if you have heard of the Sarbanes-Oxley Act came into effect after the Enron case. What does this act do? Basically, it demands more transparency in the financial reporting process by the companies. So this is one example, Enron जो मैंने दिया. Similarly, there was a company called Waste Management. Okay, Enron Waste Management. इसने भी क्या किया? इसने भी अपने बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स को कुक किया, जिससे स्टॉक प्राइसेस बहुत ऊपर चले गए. बट सडनली व्हेन इट वाज डिस्कवर्ड, प्राइसेस केम डाउन. ZZ Best Company, it was a carpet manufacturing company, carpet cleaning company. Okay, carpet cleaning company which was started by a 15-year-old very poor person. So it is a rags to riches to rags story. Means एकदम पुअर से इतना रिच हो गया, बट रिच के बाद फिर पुअर हो गया. वाई डिड इट हैपन? बिकॉज इट एक्चुअली डिड नॉट हैव कस्टमर्स, बट वो फेक कस्टमर्स शो करके अपनी बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स को प्रॉफिटेबल और रोजी दिखा रहा था. व्हेन इट वाज डिस्कवर्ड, इट जस्ट वेंट डाउन. सो रैग्स, पुअर से स्टार्ट किया, रिच में आया, गलत रास्ता लेके, फिर रैग्स. सो रैग्स टू रिचेस टू रैग्स. See, there was just one problem. Barry Minko, the founder and owner of ZZZ Best had made up out of thin air practically all of the company's alleged customers. So customers थे नहीं, बस नाम से दिखा रहे थे. Again, he was using a Ponzi scheme. What is a Ponzi scheme? A Ponzi scheme is basically where to pay off the previous investors, मैं नए इन्वेस्टर्स लेके आ रही हूँ, मेरे पास पैसा नहीं है देने के लिए, बट आई हैव टू पे द प्रीवियस इन्वेस्टर्स, उसको देने के लिए, रिटर्न करने के लिए मैं नए इन्वेस्टर्स लेके आ रही हूँ. सो दिस इज अ पोंजी स्कीम. बेसिकली फंड्स को जस्ट मैनिपुलेट करने के लिए, मिस अप्रोप्रिएट करने के लिए ये स्कीम अडॉप्ट की जाती है, फ्रॉडुलेंट स्कीम. अगेन देयर इज अ कंपनी कॉल्ड वायर कार्ड कंपनी, वेल्स फार्गो एंड कंपनी. तो वेल्स फार्गो एंड कंपनी में क्या था? सेल्स कोटा जो एम्प्लॉयज़ को दिया गया था वो बहुत हाई था. हाई प्रेशर सेल्स कोटा ऑन एम्प्लॉयज़. तो जब हाई प्रेशर था तो वो लोग क्या करते थे? फेक कस्टमर्स बनाते थे. सेल कोटा अचीव नहीं हो रहा, अचीव नहीं होगा तो इंसेंटिव प्रमोशन नहीं मिलेगा ना. सो टू अचीव दैट दे वर ओपनिंग फेक क्लाइंट अकाउंट्स इन द कंपनी. Okay, so all these are basically, I have given you a brief idea about what instances had happened. अगर आपको और डिटेल में जानना है, you can search it on the internet, you will get information in details, but for your exam only this much is relevant, so I have given you that idea. All right, so the next topic is fraud. What is fraud? Fraud is a deliberate act. Deliberate means intentional. Okay, deliberate means intentional. It is an intentional act or failure to act. या तो आपने काम किया गलत या फिर जो सही करना चाहिए था वो नहीं किया. Failure to act to obtain an unauthorized benefit either for oneself or for the institution by using deception or false suggestions or suppression of truth. सच्चाई को दबा दिया or any other unethical means. ये सब मैंने किया और किसी ने उसके ऊपर रिलाई किया. मैंने काम किया गलत और लोगों ने उस पर भरोसा करके कुछ डिसीजन लिया. दैट इज टर्म्ड एज फ्रॉड. एग्जाम्पल ऑफ फ्रॉडुलेंट एक्ट्स इंक्लूड बट आर नॉट लिमिटेड टू. मतलब ये सब फ्रॉडुलेंट एक्ट्स है, इसके अलावा और भी कुछ हो सकता है फ्रॉडुलेंट एक्ट. एम्बेजलमेंट. एम्बेजलमेंट बेसिकली मीन्स theft, okay, some kind of a theft of assets of the company. Forgery or alteration of documents. जहाँ मुझे सीनियर मैनेजमेंट का साइन कराना चाहिए था, उनका साइन मैंने फोर्ज कर लिया, सिग्नेचर फोर्ज करके मैंने बैंक से लोन उठा लिया. अगर इफ आई एम एट दैट अथॉरिटी, just giving you an example. So basically forgery or alteration of documents, unauthorized alteration or manipulation of computer files, fraudulent financial reporting, misappropriation or misuse of resources, authorization or receipt of payment for goods not received or services not performed. कंपनी में वो रॉ मटेरियल आया ही नहीं बट मैंने पेमेंट करवा दिया कि रॉ मटेरियल आया था कंपनी में. So basically payment for goods not received or services not performed. Authorization or receipt of unearned wages or benefits. Conflict of interest, ethics violation. All these are examples of fraud. Very important topic from this chapter is fraud triangle. मैम आप कैसे बता रहे हैं important है? मैम को लग रहा है कि important है. Okay? Fraud triangle. किसी भी कंपनी में फ्रॉड करने के लिए 3 चीज़ें चाहिए. पहला तो अपॉर्चुनिटी. ऐसा कंपनी में माहौल होना चाहिए कि मुझे मौका मिल रहा है चोरी करने का. अगर आपकी अपार्टमेंट में सीसीटीवी कैमरा लगे हुए हैं तो आइडियली कोई भी जो थीफ है वो नहीं आएगा चोरी करने के लिए, बिकॉज उसको दिख रहा है कि कैमरा लगा है, मैं पकड़ा जाऊंगा. बट अगर नहीं है, सोचो वो अगर कैमरा नहीं है then there's an opportunity to steal, right? Same is the case with the company. तो पहला होता है अपॉर्चुनिटी. दूसरा होता है प्रेशर या फिर इंसेंटिव. गलत काम कर मुझे क्यों करना पड़ रहा है? आइदर आई हैव सम काइंड ऑफ अ प्रेशर ऑन माई सेल्फ और देयर इज एन इंसेंटिव कि मैं ये गलत काम करूँगा तो मुझे ये फ़ायदा होगा. एडिशनल बेनिफिट इज इंसेंटिव. ओके. एंड थर्ड वन इज रैशनलाइजेशन. मतलब हर कोई चोर के मन में ये तो ज़रूर रहता है कि अगर मैं पकड़ा गया तो क्या. तो जब कंपनीज की बात करते हैं, इफ एनी एम्प्लॉई और मैनेजर इज कमिटिंग सम काइंड ऑफ अ फ्रॉड, they know that if I am caught, what will I answer? So rationalization is basically the ability to justify your action. समझ में आया आपको? गलत काम किया, अगर किसी ने पूछ लिया तो मेरे पास ये आंसर है that this is why I am doing this. So my ability to justify or give reason for the same. Opportunity, pressure or incentive, and rationalization. Very important. Employees who commit fraud generally can do so because there is an opportunity, pressure, and rationalization. Opportunity is generally provided through weakness in internal controls. Camera का example दिया ना मैंने apartment में. Same can be the case of companies. There is no segregation of duties in the company. No management approval process is there. No supervision and review. जो काम कर रहा है उसको accept कर रहा है, उसको review करने वाला कोई नहीं है. अगर है भी तो बहुत inadequate process है. So people know कि मेरा काम तो रिव्यू नहीं होने वाला है, तो मौका है ना, मौका पे मारते हैं चौका. So opportunity, this is basically a मौका. देन प्रेशर, प्रेशर और मोटिव, क्यों मुझे ये काम करना पड़ रहा है, या इंसेंटिव, ओके, मतलब कि फायदा, क्या फायदा होगा ऐसा काम करके. दिस कैन बी ड्यू टू सम काइंड ऑफ अ पर्सनल प्रेशर, एम्प्लॉय के ऊपर कुछ पर्सनल प्रेशर है, उसके ऊपर बहुत खर्चा है, लोन रीपेमेंट का बर्डन है, तो ऐसा काम किया. या फिर दे आर अडिक्टेड टू सम काइंड ऑफ ड्रग्स, अल्कोहल, तो उसका खर्चा कहाँ से आएगा, ड्रग्स अल्कोहल का रोज रोज का खर्चा कहाँ से आएगा, चलो कंपनी से पैसे चुराते हैं, कंपनी में फ्रॉड करते हैं. सो एनी काइंड ऑफ पर्सनल एडिक्शन और वाइसेस, वाइसेस मीन्स बुरी आदत. अनरियलिस्टिक डेडलाइंस एंड परफॉर्मेंस गोल्स, उनको अचीव करने के लिए मुझे फ्रॉड करना पड़ रहा है. ओके, सो दिस इज फायदा या फिर प्रेशर, यू कैन से. फायदा मीन्स इंसेंटिव या प्रेशर भी बोल सकते हैं इसको. द थर्ड पॉइंट इज रैशनलाइजेशन. It occurs when the individual develops a justification for their fraudulent activities. Okay. The rationalization varies by case and individual. Some examples include, I need this money and I'll pay it back when I get my paycheck. Other people are also doing it. I didn't get a raise, तो मुझे ये करना पड़ा. या मैंने ये किया क्योंकि मुझे रेज नहीं मिला, कंपनी को मुझे रेज देना चाहिए था, मेरी सैलरी बढ़ानी चाहिए थी बट नहीं बढ़ाया, इसलिए मैंने ये काम किया. दैट्स रैशनलाइजेशन. आप अपने काम की सफाई दे रहे हो. क्या दे रहे हो? सफाई. सो अपॉर्चुनिटी, प्रेशर एंड रैशनलाइजेशन, OPR. अपॉर्चुनिटी, pressure and rationalization, OPR. OPR, okay, memory technique. Now the objective of the auditor, or if the management also wants to stop these kind of frauds in the company, the first thing that they need to do is breaking the fraud triangle. इसमें से एक ना एक एलिमेंट को हटाना पड़ेगा. सबसे इजी हटाना किस चीज़ को है? अगर एम्प्लॉय के ऊपर पर्सनल प्रेशर है, आप उसको हटा नहीं सकते हो. एम्प्लॉय अगर अपने काम के लिए जस्टिफिकेशन दे रहा है अपने एक्शन के लिए, उसको भी आप रोक नहीं सकते. बट व्हाट यू कैन डू इज यू कैन रिमूव द अपॉर्चुनिटी. ऐसा मौका ही मत दो, इंटरनल कंट्रोल में वीकनेस छोड़ो ही मत कि लोग फ्रॉड कर सकें. राइट? सो ब्रेकिंग द फ्रॉड triangle is very, very important. Next topic is red flags for fraud. Red flags for fraud. So these are early warning signals. Okay, these are early warning signs that may indicate that fraud risk is higher without any evidence that fraud is occurring. Fraud हुआ नहीं है अभी तक, बट ये क्या है, ये एक झंडा फहरा रहे हैं कि ये देखो रेड फ्लैग है, अलर्ट हो जाओ, अब अलर्ट हो जाओ, फ्रॉड हो सकता है. फ्रॉड रिस्क, फ्रॉड होने का जो रिस्क है वो यहाँ पर ज़्यादा है. दीज आर अर्ली वार्निंग साइंस ऑफ द सेम. ओके, द एग्जिस्टेंस ऑफ 1 or 2 फ्लैग्स इज नॉट समथिंग टू बी ओवरली कंसर्न्ड अबाउट. 1-2 फ्लैग्स है तो ज़्यादा दिमाग नहीं लगाना. बट अगर रेड फ्लैग्स भी हैं, साथ ही साथ इंटरनल कंट्रोल्स में भी वीकनेस है, then it's time to wake up. You have to be alert. Now these red flags can be of 2 types. Employee red flags, management red flags. Employee के साइड से ऐसा क्या दिख रहा है कि this may be an indicator कि fraud risk बढ़ रही है. जैसे कि एम्प्लॉई अचानक से एक दिन कंपनी में आया, ऊपर से नीचे Gucci, LV, Prada and all the expensive brands they are wearing, the employee is wearing. प्राडा का चश्मा लगा लिया, गुची के जूते पहन लिए, गुची का शर्ट पहन लिया, एलवी की बैग कैरी कर रहा है, लुई विटॉन, ऑल दीज आर वेरी एक्सपेंसिव ब्रांड्स. कल तक तो एम्प्लॉय घूम रहा था नॉर्मल ब्रांड के कपड़ों में, आज इतने एक्सपेंसिव लग्जरियस ब्रांड्स कहाँ से आ गए? कल तक आ रहा था सेंट्रो में और स्विफ्ट डिजायर में, आज अचानक से जैगवार लेके आ गया. सो चेंजेस इन द लाइफस्टाइल ऑफ एम्प्लॉय, एक्सपेंसिव कार्स, ज्वेलरी, होम्स, क्लोथ्स, कहाँ से आ रहा है इतना पैसा? कुछ ना कुछ गड़बड़ है दया, पता करो, है ना। नेक्स्ट, सिग्निफिकेंट पर्सनल डेट एंड क्रेडिट प्रॉब्लम्स। आपको पता चला कि एम्प्लॉय के बहुत डेट्स लिए हुए हैं, पापा ने बहुत लोन ले रखे थे, या पुराने फैमिली के लोन्स है, या उसने अपने बच्चों के लिए एजुकेशन लोन्स ले रखे हैं, घर के लिए होम लोन ले रखा है, बट सैलरी है 15,000 रुपये की, कहाँ से चुकाएंगे भैया? कंपनी से पैसा चुराएंगे। अच्छा, रेड फ्लैग। सिग्निफिकेंट पर्सनल डेट एंड क्रेडिट प्रॉब्लम्स। बिहेवियरल चेंजेस, इंडिकेशन ऑफ ड्रग्स, अल्कोहल, गैम्बलिंग और जस्ट द फियर ऑफ लूजिंग द जॉब। बिहेवियर एम्प्लॉय का बदल रहा है। हाई एम्प्लॉय टर्नओवर, एक पर्टिकुलर डिपार्टमेंट है, उसमें एम्प्लॉयज आ रहे हैं छोड़ रहे हैं, आ रहे हैं छोड़ रहे हैं, मतलब उस डिपार्टमेंट में कुछ गड़बड़ लग रही है। कोई एम्प्लॉय ऐसा है जिसको वेकेशन ही नहीं चाहिए, सिक लीव भी नहीं ले रहा है, जाना ही नहीं है उसको, अपनी पोस्ट छोड़ के अपनी चेयर छोड़नी ही नहीं है, क्योंकि उसको डर है कि अगर मैं अपनी चेयर छोड़ के गया छुट्टी पर और मेरी चोरी पीछे से पकड़ी गई। सो सी, रेड फ्लैग, आई एम नॉट सेइंग दैट दीज आर इंस्टेंसेस की फ्रॉड हुआ है, ये सिर्फ आपको अलर्ट कर रहा है, भैया लाल झंडा है, ध्यान रखो, हो सकता है। दिस इज एन इंडिकेटर ऑफ हाई फ्रॉड रिस्क। लैक ऑफ सेग्रीगेशन ऑफ ड्यूटीज इन अ वल्नरेबल एरिया। ओके, कैशियर भी आप हैं, वाउचर भी आप बनाइए, साइन भी आप करिए, अप्रूव भी आप करिए, कोई ड्यूटी का सेग्रीगेशन नहीं है, सारा काम आपके ऊपर है। आराम से कैश लेके मैं तो घर चली जाऊंगी, राइट। सो लैक ऑफ सेग्रीगेशन ऑफ ड्यूटीज. Next is, so these are examples of employee red flags and management red flags. Objective questions can also come from here, कि कुछ red flags आपको बता दिए, इसमें से कौन सा management red flag नहीं है, या कौन सा employee red flag नहीं है, या और you can be asked a theoretical question also, give certain examples of employee red flags or management red flags. Management red flags क्या है? देखो, management frequently overrides internal controls. कंट्रोल बनाया बट मैनेजमेंट ही उसको बाईपास कर रहा है. मैनेजमेंट डिसीजंस आर डोमिनेटेड बाय एन इंडिविजुअल और स्मॉल ग्रुप. एक पर्टिकुलर इंडिविजुअल है या एक ग्रुप ऑफ पीपल है, सारे डिसीजंस वही लोग लेते हैं, उनके अगेंस्ट कोई बोल नहीं सकता. मैनेजर्स डिस्प्ले सिग्निफिकेंट डिसरिस्पेक्ट फॉर रेगुलेटरी बॉडीज. अच्छा, ये रूल है, जाने दो, कोई बात नहीं, हम लोग ऐसे करेंगे, मैनेजर्स ही ऐसा कह रहे हैं. पॉलिसीज एंड प्रोसीजर्स आर नॉट डॉक्यूमेंटेड. Weak internal control environment. Accounting personnel is lax or inexperienced. Lazy है, inexperienced है accounting personnel, और management उसका कुछ कर भी नहीं रहा. They are employed like that only. Decentralization without adequate monitoring. Excessive number of checking account. Frequent changes in bank accounts. ईयर एंड में आप देख रहे हो ट्रांजैक्शंस, जर्नल एंट्रीज भर भर के आ रही है, क्योंकि सारे एडजस्टमेंट्स मैनेजमेंट को कब करने हैं? ईयर एंड में करने हैं. एम्प्लॉय टर्नओवर रेट हाई है, एम्प्लॉयज़ का मोराल कम है कंपनी में काम करने में. ओके, आप देख रहे हैं कि रिसीट्स जो है, डॉक्यूमेंट्स आर नॉट सीरियली नंबर्ड, एंड व्हेन यू आर आस्किंग द मैनेजमेंट द रीजन, मैनेजमेंट इज नॉट एबल टू गिव यू अ जस्टिफाइड रीजन फॉर द सेम. कंपेंसेशन प्रोग्राम इज ऑल्सो आउट ऑफ प्रोपोर्शन. किसी एम्प्लॉय को फालतू का प्रमोशन दिया जा रहा है, ज़बरदस्ती के इंसेंटिव दिए जा रहे हैं, और ऐसे एम्प्लॉयज़ भी हैं जिन्होंने कभी लीव ही नहीं ली है, बट मैनेजमेंट उसका कुछ नहीं कर रहा. फोटो कॉपीड और मिसिंग डॉक्यूमेंट्स. रिलक्टेंस टू प्रोवाइड इंफॉर्मेशन और एंगेज इन फ्रीक्वेंट डिस्प्यूट विद ऑडिटर्स. ऑडिटर्स कुछ मांग रहे हैं इन्फॉर्मेशन, बट ऑडिटर्स को नहीं मिल रही है वो. ऐसे इंस्टेंसेस अगर हैं, दैट मीन्स दीज आर मैनेजमेंट रेड फ्लैग्स. इज इट क्लियर अप टिल हियर? यस. Next topic is, we are going to do what is fraud as per the Companies Act. You have already learnt it in law, I guess, and in audit also we have done, I think so, in inter, but I don't know you remember or not. Section 447 of the Companies Act 2013. So earlier there was Companies Act 1956, but उसमें fraud का कोई definition नहीं था, ना ही कोई फ्रॉड के लिए अलॉटेड सेक्शन था. बट व्हेन द गवर्नमेंट सॉ दैट सो मेनी इंस्टेंसेस ऑफ फ्रॉड आर टेकिंग प्लेस, तो उन्होंने फ्रॉड के लिए एक अलग से सेक्शन बना दिए, अलग से रूल्स बना दिए फ्रॉड को लेके. सो व्हाट इज फ्रॉड एज पर द कंपनीज एक्ट? अलॉन्ग विद दैट अ सीरियस फ्रॉड इन्वेस्टिगेशन ऑफिस अंडर सेक्शन 212 of the Companies Act has also been formed. SFIO. So all these are legislative changes that the government has made in view of the increase in the instances of frauds. Separate definition of fraud. So two sections here you have to learn. Section 447 and section 212. सेक्शन 447 क्या कहते हैं फ्रॉड के लिए? Without prejudice to any liability, including repayment of any debt under this act or any other law. So इसका मतलब without prejudice मतलब without adversely affecting any other legal proceeding that's going on with respect to repayment of debt. With respect to repayment of that debt, if any other proceeding is going on in any other law or in this law, okay, without affecting that, I am saying that fraud is any act or omission or concealment of any fact, abuse of position, which is committed by any person or any other person with the connivance, with the help of any other person, with the intent to deceive. Intent, नियत थी चोरी करने की, नियत थी चीट करने की, or to gain undue advantage, or to injure the interests of the company or its shareholders or its creditors or any other person. Any other person बोल के कोई लिमिट ही नहीं छोड़ी, किसी को भी अगर अनफेवरेबली इम्पैक्ट हो रहा है, किसी के इंटरेस्ट इंजर हो रहे हैं, वेदर और नॉट उस एक्शन से कोई रॉन्गफुल गेन हुआ या नहीं हुआ वो मैटर नहीं करता. अगर ऐसा कुछ एक्शन हुआ, इट्स टर्म्ड एज फ्रॉड. All right, so this is section 447 of the Companies Act. Rest you can just go through, and we have already studied that the auditor has to report fraud as per section 143 subsection 12. Auditor को अपनी audit report में if they have noticed any instances of fraud, they have to report the same. Even the cost auditors and the company secretaries have to do so. In SEBI also, in wake of the increasing frauds, SEBI has in its LODR, Listing Obligations and Disclosure Requirements 2015, LODR you have read about. LODR में भी SEBI ने changes की है. क्या changes किया कि अगर किसी कंपनी में forensic audit चल रही है, if forensic audit has been initiated in any company, number one, they need to inform that the forensic audit has been initiated and why the forensic audit has been initiated, to whom, किसको information देनी है. सेबी की बात हो रही है तो किसको information देनी है? स्टॉक एक्सचेंज को, right? They have to inform the stock exchange about the same, and also the final forensic audit report. The final forensic audit report has to be submitted by the audit committee and the management to the stock exchange. So two things they have to. The following disclosures shall be made to the stock exchange by the listed entities. The fact of initiation of forensic audit along with the name of entity initiating the audit, किसने audit करवाई है, and the reasons for the same, if reason is available. And the final forensic audit report, other than forensic audit initiated by regulatory or enforcement agency, अगर अदरवाइज किसी पार्टी ने फोरेंसिक ऑडिट इनिशिएट करवाई है तो फाइनल फोरेंसिक ऑडिट रिपोर्ट सबमिट करना है अलॉन्ग विद द कमेंट्स ऑफ द मैनेजमेंट. तो मैम ऐसा करने से क्या हो रहा है? सेबी ये क्यों कर रही है? सेबी ये इसलिए कर रही है बिकॉज कंपनी को डर रहेगा ना कि स्टॉक एक्सचेंज को अगर मैं इन्फॉर्म करूँ, इन्फॉर्मेशन न्यूज़ में चली जाए कि फोरेंसिक ऑडिट हो रही है कंपनी में, कंपनी के शेयर प्राइस, लोगों का सेंटिमेंट्स क्या हो जाएगा विथ रिगार्ड टू कंपनी? सेंटिमेंट्स विल बिकम नेगेटिव, the share prices may go down, right? So this will just create a sense of एक आप कह सकते हैं कंपनी या मैनेजमेंट ऑडिट कमिटी और ज़्यादा अवेयर हो जाएगी that if something like this is happening, it will not stay just in my company. The news will go out and it will adversely affect the company. Okay? So we are doing till here in this lecture. In the next lecture we'll be continuing. So we have done 10 topics I guess till now. Yes, from the list of topics I'm just going through. See, when to get the forensic audit done, we have completed steps in forensic audit. Business frauds, meaning, reason and examples we have done. What is fraud? The meaning we have done. Fraud triangle, red flags, when we completed employee and management red flags. Fraud as per Companies Act and SEBI. So 10 topics we have completed in this lecture. I hope everything is clear to you until now. whatever I have made you mark, you will go through that along with whatever else is there in your book, the text. You will just go through it once and learn the relevant portions for your exam. I hope you found this lecture really helpful. Do share it with your friends and let me know in the comment section if you face any doubts. Thank you so much. Hello everyone, I hope you all are doing great and studying really well for your examinations. This video is for all the CMA final students who are studying in accordance with the new syllabus, the revised 2022 syllabus for the exams. I hope you guys, before watching this video, have watched the first video of the topic forensic audit, wherein we had covered the first 10 topics as per our list. In this lecture, we'll be covering the last 10 topics. Okay, I'll just show you the list of topics once again. In the last lecture, we had covered all these topics that we have marked, tick marked. Today, we are going to do financial forensics, qualities of a forensic auditor, the techniques of conducting forensic audit, ethical considerations, what are the ethical issues in businesses due to which these illegal or fraudulent activities take place generally. What are the ethical principles that the auditor should follow, the code of conduct for the auditor, the standards for examination and reporting, what are the professional opportunities for the auditors. All right, so we are going to cover these areas. Let us quickly start without wasting any time. The first topic is financial forensics and forensic audit techniques. What is financial forensics? As the name suggests, financial forensics means we are conducting an investigation on the financial records. All right. So financial forensics is a field that combines accounting and investigation. One of the main purposes of financial forensics is discovering and gathering evidence of criminal activity involving money. See, forensic audit and financial forensics are different. Forensic audit may be conducted for reasons other than that which is involving money. For examples, when a business is getting insolvent, okay, a company has got insolvent, or in personal cases of, say, divorce. In cases like these also forensic audit may be conducted, but financial forensics always has to deal with money. Is it clear? So there are financial forensic professionals. The forensic auditors can only act as financial forensic professionals, but the only difference, the slight difference is this will always involve finance because naam mein hi finance hai. Okay. Examples of common cases of financial forensics that we might have to work on are: number one is financial theft. Financial theft. It is when a customer, an employee, or another individual steals money from an organization. Very easy. For example, an employee might take money from a cash register. So in this case, the financial forensic analyst will study the event, look for evidence of theft in the documents कि कहाँ से चोरी हुई, कैसे हुई, and will relate it with the PL account, with the profit and loss statements, and discover the theft. All right, that is the number one point, is financial theft. Second one is securities fraud. Securities means relating to shares and securities of a company. So if somebody is giving misleading advice or false information so that you purchase or sell shares of a particular company, that is termed as securities fraud. It is a type of a white collar crime that typically occurs when someone presents false information to an investor. For example, a stockbroker might give misleading advice to convince a client to invest in a certain company. Again, in this case, the financial forensic professional will search through the documents such as transactions and communication records to determine if someone has committed securities fraud. The next one is money laundering. So what we are studying here, we are studying the areas of financial forensics. Money laundering क्या होता है? Money laundering is when money is earned through illegitimate means, illegal तरीकों से money को earn किया जाना और फिर उसको legal बताना. अर्न किया इलीगल तरीके से बट बुक्स में दिख रहा है कि लीगल है. Money laundering is the process of making money earned through illegal methods look legal. For example, someone might take stolen cash and invest it into a cash-based business such as a restaurant. कैश आया कोई गलत तरीके से, इलीगल एक्टिविटी से, बट उसको इन्वेस्ट कर दिया एक कैश बेस्ड बिजनेस में जहाँ पे कैश का रिक्वायरमेंट है, सो इट इज seeming as if the money is legal. Next is corporate valuation disputes. Whenever a company is being sold out or in case of merger and amalgamations, there is a requirement for valuation of the company. In this case also, a financial forensic professional may be called upon to analyze the business and to determine the accurate, or you can say that determine the appropriate value of the business. All right, to analyze and determine its value. Next point is tax evasion. Tax ki chori. Tax evasion means not paying the taxes that you are supposed to pay. So tax evasion occurs when a person or organization avoids paying the taxes. For example, a company might try to hide its profits in a shell corporation. Profit मेरा हुआ, मैंने दिखाया कि XYZ company किसी और company का हुआ है. That means I am hiding my profits so that I have to pay less taxes. So in this case also, a financial forensic professional may be called to work on it. Clear? Yes. Now forensic audit techniques we are not going to do from here. Okay. I am striking it off because I am not doing this part. You can just read it once. We'll be doing it in the later part. Qualities of a forensic accountant or a forensic auditor. What qualities to become a forensic auditor? What qualities you need to have? Very simple things but very important. Okay, यहाँ पे भी मैं लगा दूँ एक घंटी. Yes. So a forensic auditor should have a logical mind. Logic apply करना आना चाहिए. किसी ने भी कुछ भी समझा दिया, आपने समझ लिया, it should not be the case. Okay, you should apply your own logical brain. You have to give attention to details because the smallest, the minute details may be of importance to you. So किसी भी चीज़ को ignore नहीं करना, attention to detail. A very good observer can be a very good forensic auditor. Okay, give value to moral principles. Question everything, inquisitiveness. Okay, दिमाग में एक क्वेश्चन मार्क होना चाहिए फोरेंसिक ऑडिटर के हमेशा. व्हाई दिस इज हैपनिंग? ओके, यू आर गिविंग मी दिस रीजन, नाउ अ व्हाई ऑफ दिस, हाउ ऑफ दिस. ओके, सो बेसिकली क्यूरियस माइंड होना चाहिए. इंक्विजिटिव मतलब क्यूरियस, नॉट एक्सेप्टिंग वट एवर इज बीइंग सेड, asking for reasons and details for it. Okay, spontaneous होना चाहिए. Presence of mind should be very strong. In the moment जो भी बोला जा रहा है उसको तुरंत एनालाइज करके तुरंत समझने वाला, spontaneous चाहिए. ठीक है. Good understanding of accounting transactions and impacts. Of course, because we are a forensic auditor, we will generally deal with finance, accounts. So accounting principles and accounting transactions का sound knowledge होना चाहिए. ऐसा अकाउंटिंग ट्रीटमेंट हुआ तो क्या इफेक्ट होगा, ये हुआ तो क्या होगा, इम्पैक्ट समझना आना चाहिए. ओके, ऑडिटर शुड नॉट बी वेरी relaxed kind of a person. Relaxed not in the sense of personal relaxation, I am telling, in the sense of work. He should always have an urge to dig deeper. इसका और खोद निकालना है मुझे, और जानना है इसके बारे में. ओके, so they should have an urge to dig deeper. It will make you a successful forensic auditor or accountant. Clear? Next topic, very important, the investigative techniques of forensic accounting. What are the forensic audit or investigation techniques? Number 1, reviewing public documents and conducting background checks. So whatever documents are available in the public, reviewing that and conducting the background check of the entity. That is the first technique. The documents made available to the public are scrutinized, means checked, as they are the easiest to obtain through background checks of a particular company. Thorough background checks of a particular company are done. Public documents would include any information in the public database, the corporate records, and any legally available information on the internet. न्यूज़ में क्या चल रहा है इस कंपनी के बारे में, स्टॉक मार्केट में इसका परफॉर्मेंस कैसा चल रहा है, सेबी के अंदर इन्होंने क्या फाइलिंग की है. सो एनी डॉक्यूमेंट दैट इज पब्लिकली अवेलेबल टू रिव्यू दैट. Second is conducting detailed interviews. So interview is a very important audit technique when it comes to forensic audit. The auditor should conduct detailed interviews with the employees, with the witnesses, with the whistleblowers. अगर कोई whistleblower है तो उससे भी डिटेल में इंटरव्यू करनी है हमें. Now when we are interviewing, one very important thing is we should first understand the objectives of the audit. किससे इंटरव्यू करनी है और क्वेश्चंस क्या पूछने हैं. इफ यू आस्क द राइट क्वेश्चंस यू विल गेट टू योर एंड. Okay, you will achieve what you are wanting to achieve. But if you don't know what questions you should ask, the forensic auditor has to always ask tactful questions. एक ही चीज को घुमा फिरा के बार बार पूछना पड़ेगा. So preparing the questionnaire or the questions to be asked is very important. Conducting an interview is an essential technique that can transform an unwilling person into a source of valuable information. कोई एक ऐसा एम्प्लॉई है जिसको आपने एक क्वेश्चन पूछा तो उसने ठीक से आंसर नहीं दिया, बट उसी क्वेश्चन को आप घुमा फिरा के 10 बार पूछ रहे हो तो उसने कुछ वैल्यूएबल इंफॉर्मेशन दे डाली आपको. सो दिस इंटरव्यू इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टूल. इट हेल्प्स इन फुल्ली अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑल द फैक्ट्स. Should be conducted by accurately assessing the gravity of the situation and preparing the questions according to it. Okay, and you should take every detail into consideration while interviewing. The third technique is gathering information from trustworthy sources. Informants जिसको बोलते हैं, ठीक है, खबरी हिंदी में क्या कहते हैं, खबरी. तो कि कोई ट्रस्टवर्दी सोर्स है मेरा जिससे मुझे इन्फॉर्मेशन मिली, दैट इज वेरी वेरी वाइटल इन फोरेंसिक ऑडिट. बट अगेन वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट इज द वर्ड ट्रस्ट ओवर हियर. ट्रस्टवर्दी होना चाहिए, एरा गैरा नथु गैरा नहीं चलेगा. Information provided by a confidential and trustworthy source can be precious to any case. When a piece of information is gained from a confidential source or a confidential informant, all necessary precautions should be taken to hide the identity. क्योंकि अगर किसी को आइडेंटिटी पता चल गई कि ये बात किसने लीक की है तो फिर वो आदमी तो गया, राइट. द फोर्थ technique is analyzing evidences gathered. Now that we have gathered evidences by way of interviews, by way of conducting background checks from our sources, we need to analyze them. समझना पड़ेगा, evaluate करना है. Proper analysis will give us a proper conclusion about who is guilty and who is not. Okay, proper analysis of the obtained evidence can point to the guilty party and assist in understanding the extent of the fraud committed. Furthermore, this analysis would also help to understand how secure the company is against financial scams. हो सकता है फ्रॉड हुआ ही नहीं है, ठीक है, हमने एक सस्पिशन के साथ ऑडिट स्टार्ट की, बट नाउ वी हैव कंक्लूडेड दैट फ्रॉड हैज नॉट टेकन प्लेस. नाउ इफ वी एनालाइज दिस एविडेंस प्रॉपरली, वी विल बी एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड कि कंपनी कितनी सुरक्षित है फ्यूचर में फाइनेंशियल स्कैम्स से. ओके, हाउ सिक्योर इज इट फ्रॉम फ्यूचर फाइनेंशियल स्कैम्स. नेक्स्ट पॉइंट नंबर 5 इज कंडक्टिंग सर्विलेंस. सर्विलेंस मतलब क्या, किसी पे नजर रखना. नजर कैसे रख सकते हैं, either physically or electronically. So keeping surveillance on the company, on the suspicious parties, the fraudsters, we can also gain some audit evidence. Very very vital, or you can say the technique that we should follow at the end, last में जब कुछ नहीं हो रहा है, then we should go undercover. से मूवी का कोई सीन याद आ रहा है, अंडरकवर एजेंट, पुलिस है बट सिविल यूनिफॉर्म में ऐसे ही घूम रहा है नॉर्मल लोगों के बीच में, और किसी को पता नहीं चला कि ये पुलिस है और चोरी पकड़ी गई. अंडरस्टूड. सो गोइंग अंडरकवर. अंडरकवर मीन्स सीक्रेटली फाइंडिंग इंफॉर्मेशन and under false appearance. Okay, but this should be an extreme measure. This is an extreme measure and should be followed only at the end. Last one is analyzing the financial statements. This is a special tool for finding out the fraud committed. All necessary details are summarized in the financial statements. And the analysis of these statements can help the auditor to figure out the scam. Clear? So these are the forensic audit techniques, very important. The next part is ethical considerations and code of conduct in forensic audit. This is a very easy topic, so we'll quickly go through it. Ethical issues in business. So businesses के अंदर काफ़ी सारे ethical issues रहते हैं. Ethical means moral principle issues. So because of which the employees or the management is forced and also has an opportunity to commit frauds, to follow wrong means, और जिसकी वजह से scams होते हैं. तो क्या क्या ethical considerations हैं businesses के अंदर? Number 1, harassment and discrimination in the workplace. This is one of the largest ethical problem. Workers are harassed and employees are discriminated as per age, gender, caste, religion, because of which they get frustrated or frustration के मारे गलत काम. Understood? This is the first point. Second is health and safety of the workers. Health and safety in the workplace. If health and safety is not maintained, again, wrong means will be adopted. Wrongful means will be adopted. Third point is whistleblowing or social media rants. What are we studying, ma'am? We are studying ethical issues in business. Whistleblowing or social media rants. Nowadays, social media का तो अलग ही कमाल चल रहा है दुनिया में. Everything, single thing is going on social media. So if employee is not, in proper conduct on social media. Now, social media is my personal, space. Why is the company concerned about that? So the company is concerned about only that part of the online behavior of the employee which is considered disloyal or dishonest to the employer. कंपनी के लिए हार्मफुल है क्या? कंपनी के लिए वो गलत बात बोल रहा है क्या सोशल मीडिया पे? दैट इज सोशल मीडिया रैंट्स. रैंट्स मतलब हो गया फालतू की गॉसिप करना. ओके, बट विसल ब्लोइंग ऑन द अदर हैंड इज स्टेटिंग आउट फैक्ट्स अबाउट द कंपनी विच वर कंसील्ड. So this is another, ethical problem, ethical issue in the company. I would just like to mark a few lines here. The line is usually drawn when an employee's online behavior is considered to be disloyal to their employer. This means that a Facebook post complaining about work is not punishable on its own but can be punishable if it does something to reduce the business. In the same vein, business owners must be able to respect and not penalize employees who are deemed as whistleblowers to either regulatory authorities or on social media. Instead, करना क्या चाहिए कंपनीज को? They should, to avoid this risk कि क्या गलत है, कितने एक्सटेंट तक सोशल मीडिया में बात की जा सकती है, they should clearly stipulate which online behaviors will constitute an infringement. कौन सा बिहेवियर इनअप्रोप्रिएट माना जाएगा, कौन सा नहीं माना जाएगा. क्लियर लाइन्स शुड बी सेट फॉर दिस. इज इट ओके? एथिक्स इन अकाउंटिंग प्रैक्टिसेस, अनदर प्रॉब्लम. दिस विल बी आवर पॉइंट नंबर 4. Cooking of the books of accounts, as I already said. So in accounting, the proper ethical practices should be followed. Cooking of books should not be done. Even the auditors, the financial auditors should respect it. The fifth point is non-disclosure and corporate espionage. Espionage means spying. Say I was working for a company ABC. Now I have moved from ABC to XYZ. तो मैं क्या ABC की confidential information XYZ को बता दूं? अगर मैं बताती हूँ तो ये ethical issue है ना business की? Yes. So that is what we mean by corporate espionage and non-disclosure. Many employers are at a risk of current and former employees stealing information, including client data. Okay, in direct competition with organizations who are in direct competition with the company. When intellectual property is stolen or private client information is illegally distributed, it constitutes corporate espionage. कंपनी जब भी अपने एम्प्लॉयज़ को ज्वाइनिंग कॉन्ट्रैक्ट देती है तो सारे कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में डिटेल्स होते हैं, कॉन्फिडेंशियलिटी क्लॉजेज होते हैं, नॉन डिस्क्लोजर अग्रीमेंट्स होती है दैट वंस यू लीव द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन यू कैन नॉट डिस्क्लोज इन्फॉर्मेशन, okay, to our competitors. नेक्स्ट पॉइंट नंबर 6 इज टेक्नोलॉजी एंड प्रिवेसी प्रैक्टिसेस. अगेन जैसे कि आपका नॉन डिस्क्लोजर अग्रीमेंट है, वैसे ही टेक्नोलॉजी एंड प्रिवेसी प्रैक्टिस. कंपनी का लैपटॉप है, सर्विलेंस है उसके ऊपर पूरे टाइम. ओके, यू आर इलेक्ट्रॉनिकली बीइंग अंडर सर्विलेंस. पूरे टाइम आप क्या कर रहे हैं लैपटॉप में सब सर्वे किया जा रहा है. सो दिस इज एन एथिकल प्रॉब्लम. सर्विलेंस इज गुड, बट the employee should be taught the reason why they are being surveilled. Okay, उनके ऊपर नजर क्यों रखी जा रही है, नजर नहीं, rather why this surveillance is put into practice. They should be made aware about that. Once they are aware about that, उनको भी खराब नहीं लगेगा कि मैं जो भी कर रहा हूँ वो पता चल रहा है. राइट, ऐसा काम भी नहीं करना है. rather हमें ये समझना चाहिए that why we are being under surveillance. So these are the ethical issues in businesses. Now to avoid these issues, first of all, the top management should be very strong, should have strong integrity and moral principles. If the leaders are strong, okay, leaders have a very important role to play. They are the drivers of the organization. Agar leaders ka strong moral principles hai, they stick to their values, the employees will also follow them. And same opposite, agar wo ethical principles नहीं follow करते हैं तो एम्प्लॉयज़ भी क्यों करेंगे. प्रॉपर कम्युनिकेशन होना चाहिए रिगार्डिंग द एथिकल प्रैक्टिसेस विच आर एक्सेप्टेबल इन द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. एम्प्लॉयज़ को पता होना चाहिए कि क्या हम कर सकते हैं, क्या हम नहीं कर सकते हैं. रिटन स्टैंडर्ड्स होना चाहिए, पॉलिसीज होना चाहिए. दिस वे द एथिकल इश्यूज विल रिड्यूस. Now when we come to auditors, okay, these threats part we'll do it later in the later part. Right now we will do this. Reducing ethic risks by taking 5 key steps. Just you can come to the next page. Reducing ethic risks by taking the 5 key steps. So if any business organization wants to reduce the ethic risks, what can they do? There are 5 steps. Number 1 is honestly assess needs and resources. Honestly assess what are the needs of an entity, what are its resources. Basically needs and resources here I mean what are the ethics, what values should be focused on, what are the challenges we are facing. Okay, all these things, what my employees value, what are my values, what is the difference, the gap analysis, this risk assessment should be done by the entity. Right, this we are talking from the entity point of view. Right now we are not talking of auditors. From the entity point of view, a successful entity will be successful if it is able to plan properly. Clear? The next point is, so this is the first step, honestly assess needs and resources. Second point is a strong foundation. Written standards of ethical workplace should be there. स्टैंडर्ड्स रिटन होना चाहिए, ट्रेनिंग दी जानी चाहिए एम्प्लॉयज़ को ऑन द एथिकल स्टैंडर्ड्स. देयर शुड बी एन अथॉरिटी whom we can go for seeking advice if we want on ethical and compliance issues. कोई एक अथॉरिटी तो होना चाहिए ना. रिसोर्स ऐसा दो मुझे जिससे मैं एडवाइस ले सकूं. A means to report potential violations confidentially and anonymously. बिना मेरा नाम लिए अगर कोई वायलेट कर रहा है एथिकल इश्यूज़ को तो मैं उसको रिपोर्ट कर सकूं. मीन्स टू रिपोर्ट. परफॉर्मेंस इवैल्यूएशन ऑफ एथिकल कंडक्ट. जो एम्प्लॉई एथिकली स्ट्रॉन्ग है उसको रिवॉर्ड करना, और जो वायलेट कर रहा है उसको डिसिप्लिन कैसे किया जा सकता है. फाइन लगाओ उस पर, उसको रस्टिकेट कर दो, सस्पेंड कर दो. ओके. The hallmarks of an effective ethics and compliance program are freedom to question management without fear. ये ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है, उसने ऐसा किया, कुछ क्यों नहीं उसके अगेंस्ट एक्शन लिया गया. I should have the freedom to question management without any fear. Rewards for following ethical standards. Not rewarding questionable practices, even if they produce good results to the company. A salesman is giving me huge sales but is not following ethical practices. Should I promote him? No. If I am not promoting him, that means I am following an effective ethics and compliance program. Positive feedback for ethical conduct. Employee preparedness to address misconduct. Employees' willingness to seek ethics advice. All these are features of an effective ethics and compliance program. Okay. Next, point number 3. So what we are studying right now, we are studying how to reduce the ethic risks. Number one was honestly assessing the needs and resources, and the second one was creating a strong foundation. Third is to develop a culture of integrity. So from top to bottom, the top management to the bottommost level of the organization, everyone should stick to the culture of integrity. अगर कंपनी में ऐसा माहौल एनवायरनमेंट बना दिया जाएगा टू ओनली डू द राइट थिंग, पीपल विल डू दैट. बट अगर माहौल ऑपोजिट होगा तो पीपल विल ऑल्सो डू द ऑपोजिट. आपने घरों में देखा होगा, इन हाउसेज, इन होम्स वेयर यू नो द elders are very strict with regard to cleanliness. The house will always be clean, even the children will learn so. But in houses where elders are also very careless with regard to cleanliness, culture ही घर में ऐसा है कि बिखरा हुआ रखो, कोई कुछ नहीं बोलेगा, गंदगी रखो, कोई कुछ नहीं बोलेगा. Children will also learn the same is the case with organizations. Okay, the leaders should promote a strong ethics culture. How can they do so? By talking about the importance of ethics, by keeping the employees adequately informed about issues that impact them, uphold promises and commitments to employees and stakeholders. मतलब जो बात बोला उससे मुकर नहीं रहे मैनेजमेंट लीडर्स, जो बोला प्रॉमिस वही कर रहे हैं. Acknowledge and reward ethical conduct. जो एम्प्लॉई एथिक्स को फॉलो कर रहा है, कुछ गलत काम नहीं कर रहा है, उनको रिवॉर्ड करना. So when others see that this person is rewarded because he is so ethical, they will also be motivated to follow the ethical principles. Is it clear? Hold accountable those who violate standards, especially leaders. Top leader ने भी अगर ethical violation किया तो उसको punish करना. Model ethical conduct both professionally and personally. ऐसा नहीं कि I am just being ethical in my business organization. Even if you see me outside the company, outside the gates of the company, you will see that I am a very ethical person personally also. अगर लोग ऐसा देख रहे हैं मेरे employees कि leader भी ऐसी है, ऐसा है, they will also be motivated to be like the same. When it comes to ethical leadership, there are two things to keep in mind. Number A is character in paramount, and B is leadership happens at all levels. Character is paramount means ऐसा नहीं है कि सिर्फ मैं कंपनी में बिजनेस डिसीजंस ले रही हूँ then I have to follow the ethics. I have to be ethical in my character personally also. And leadership happens at all levels. It does not mean that only the senior management will follow the ethical principles. Supervisor is below the senior management, they should also follow ethical principle क्योंकि वो भी तो किसी के लीडर हैं, right? So leadership happens at all levels. Hence everyone should follow the ethical principles. This was point number 3, develop a culture of integrity. Point number 4 is keep a values focus. Keep a values focus means the leaders, the senior management, and even the lower level management, they should never way away from their take away from the ethics, from the values. Even in times of crisis, even in the smallest mundane decisions, day to day decision, just जो इतना material भी नहीं है, उसमें भी focus किस पे होना चाहिए? Values पे होना चाहिए. So when you have a value focus in your organization, ethical risks will automatically reduce. Last point is re-evaluate and revise. Situations keep changing, employees keep changing, the needs of the organization keep changing. So according to that, we should also keep revising and reassessing, re-evaluating the ethical policies. क्या पॉलिसी बनाया, क्या अभी वो वैलिड है, रिवाइज करें, क्या प्रॉब्लम्स फेस हो रही हैं, री-इवैल्यूएट और रिवाइज करना चाहिए. रिस्क असेसमेंट, follow-up surveys and periodic or ongoing focus groups will allow the program to relevant and regular assessments will demonstrate internally that the resources in ethics and compliance have made a difference. तो assessment होगी, re-evaluation होगी, तभी उस चीज़ का कोई फ़ायदा होगा. Next is major threats in the accounting profession. This is in the part of the auditor. It's another topic now. We have completed the previous topic. This is another topic, the threats in the accounting profession. When an auditor is conducting audit, they may also face several types of ethical threats. Self-interest threat. As the name suggests, the auditor has some kind of a financial interest directly or indirectly in the company. For example, my very close relative, say my mother or father only, is holding shares in the company or has given certain loan to the company as per the allowable limits of the Companies Act, of course. And now they have a financial interest in the company. So it is my self interest threat. To prevent their interest, मैं गलत ओपिनियन भी ऑडिट रिपोर्ट में दे सकती हूँ. सिमिलरली इफ द कंपनी हैज नॉट गिवन द ऑडिट फीस ऑफ द प्रीवियस ईयर, ठीक है, मैं कंपनी को एक लोन दिला दूंगी जिससे वो मेरा फीस जो है वो क्लियर कर सके. सो दिस इज बिकॉज इन माई सेल्फ इंटरेस्ट आई एम डूइंग एन एक्टिविटी. इट्स अ थ्रेट. आई एम नॉट एक्टिंग इंडिपेंडेंटली. सेल्फ रिव्यू थ्रेट. अकाउंट्स भी मैंने बनाया, ऑडिट भी मैं कर रही हूँ. अकाउंट्स भी मैंने प्रिपेयर किया, उसको चेक वेरीफाई भी मैं कर रही हूँ. सो विल देयर बी अ चांस ऑफ हाईलाइटिंग एनी मिस स्टेटमेंट? अपने ही काम में मैं गलती निकालूंगी? नो. सो दिस इज अ सेल्फ रिव्यू थ्रेट. अपने काम को खुद ही रिव्यू करना. नेक्स्ट इज एडवोकेसी थ्रेट. Advocacy threat means I am promoting the opinion of the client to an extent which is compromising my unbiased behavior. I should be unbiased, I should be objective while conducting my audit, but I am acting in a way, मैं client को इतना support कर रही हूँ उसके opinion को कि मेरा objectivity compromise हो रहा है. I am advocating what the client is saying basically. For example, if I am engaged in helping the client to sell their business और मैं ये ऑडिट रिपोर्ट बना रही हूँ, तो मैं क्या ऑडिट रिपोर्ट में कुछ मिसस्टेटमेंट्स है वो हाईलाइट करूँगी? नहीं, करने से तो वैल्यूएशन कम हो जाएगी, राइट? दिस इज एडवोकेसी थ्रेट. Familiarity threat is when the auditor is too personally close or familiar with the employees or officers or directors of the company. Intimidation threat means I am being threatened, me as an auditor, I am being threatened, intimidated by the management or directors to issue a particular type of a report. Okay, they are not letting me do my job independently. They are deterring me, stopping me from acting objectively. Okay, so these are the certain threats in the accounting profession. We read about ethical issues in businesses. These are the ethical issues which may arise in case of auditors. Now we also studied how we can reduce the ethic risks. We can follow some ethic policy, create a culture of integrity, but there are certain challenges with it. Okay, there are 3 primary challenges that the company faces while implementing an ethics policy. सबसे पहले तो कुछ भी नया करो, employees resist करेंगे. Okay, there is always a resistance of change. This is a natural behavior, in a tendency of people कि कुछ नया होता है तो हम उसको resist करते हैं, होने नहीं देते हैं. बट ये कैसे रिड्यूस किया जा सकते हैं? एम्प्लॉयज़ को कम्युनिकेट प्रॉपरली करके, समझा के, ट्रेन करके. ओके, नेक्स्ट इज कॉस्ट ऑफ ट्रेनिंग एंड अदर इम्प्लीमेंटेशन कॉस्ट कैन बी हाई. पॉलिसी बनाना बड़ा बात नहीं है, उसको इम्प्लीमेंट करना बड़ा बात है. कैन द कंपनी बेयर द कॉस्ट ऑफ ट्रेनिंग एंड द इम्प्लीमेंटेशन कॉस्ट ऑफ द एथिक्स पॉलिसी? Some companies may feel कि ये सब unnecessary है, इतना खर्चा क्यों करना है, right? So this is another challenge which comes when implementing an ethics policy. And the last one is, कोई भी ethics policy जब बनाई जाती है, implement की जाती है, उसका return on investment कि इसको बनाने में, implement करने में इतना खर्चा लगा, अब इससे मुझे return क्या मिल रहा है, assess करना short run में बहुत difficult है. So inability to determine ROI of the ethics policy. Since हम इंसान का फितरत क्या होता है, जनरली ह्यूमन टेंडेंसी है फ़ायदा देखो, रिस्क रिवॉर्ड, इतना रिस्क लेने से रिवॉर्ड क्या मिल रहा है. बट रिस्क लेने से, ये एथिकल पॉलिसी अडॉप्ट करने से कंपनी को लॉन्ग रन में फ़ायदा होगा, शॉर्ट रन में आप असेस नहीं कर सकते हो. सो सिंस रिटर्न ऑन इन्वेस्टमेंट कैलकुलेट करना इज़ डिफ़िकल्ट, डिटर्मिन करना इज़ डिफ़िकल्ट, इट्स अनदर चैलेंज फॉर इम्प्लीमेंटिंग द पॉलिसी. ऑल राइट. Okay, next topic is code of conduct in forensic audit. So you see, this is an association, an organization that is called the ACFE, Association of Certified Fraud Examiners. It is an association of professionals committed to performing at the highest level of ethical conduct. Okay, so this is the association of basically forensic auditors. ये एक course है, CFE, Certified Forensic Examiners is a certification course. If you do this, you can act as a forensic auditor. All right, so ये जो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है, जो एसोसिएशन है, इसने एक कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट बनाया. जो भी CFEs होंगे, सर्टिफाइड फ्रॉड एग्जामिनर्स, दे हैव टू फॉलो दिस कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट. क्या है स्टैंडर्ड्स ऑफ प्रोफेशनल कंडक्ट? वेरी इजी. Integrity and objectivity. They shall conduct themselves with integrity, knowing that the public trust is founded on integrity. What is the meaning of the term integrity? Integrity means being straightforward and sticking to what you say. अभी मैं कुछ और बोल रही हूँ, कल जाके मैं कुछ और बोल रही हूँ, एक जन के सामने कुछ और बोल रही हूँ, दूसरे के सामने कुछ और बोल रही हूँ, जिसको हम हिंदी में कहते हैं बिन पैंदे का लोटा. वैसा ऑडिटर को नहीं बनना है. ऑडिटर को अपनी स्ट्रॉन्ग ओपिनियन रखनी है. ओके, शुड बी वेरी स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड इन वट एवर दे से एंड शुड नॉट deter from what they have said, should not differ in their statements. That's the meaning of the term integrity. So they should maintain integrity. Before accepting the fraud examination, CFE shall investigate for actual or potential conflict of interest. क्या मेरा इस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में कोई कॉन्फ्लिक्ट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट है? मेरा कोई रिलेटेड पार्टी यहाँ पे डायरेक्टर है? अगर है तो आई शुड नॉट एक्सेप्ट दैट एंगेजमेंट बिकॉज आई विल नॉट बी एबल टू गिव एन अनबायस्ड ओपिनियन. I shall maintain objectivity in discharging the professional responsibilities. Objectivity means unbiasedness. They should not commit acts discreditable to the ACFE or its auditorship. ऐसा कोई काम नहीं करना है जिससे ACFE की reputation खराब हो. Okay? We should work in the best interest of the reputation of the profession. CFE shall not knowingly make a false statement when testifying under oath in a court of law. Of course, आपको गलत स्टेटमेंट नहीं देनी. आप तो फोरेंसिक ऑडिटर हैं. आप ही अगर गलत बात बोलेंगे तो जो लोग फ्रॉड कर रहे हैं उनका क्या होगा. नेक्स्ट इज प्रोफेशनल कॉम्पिटेंस. Competence means I should have the knowledge and the skill to perform the engagement. So where competence is lacking, मुझे लग रहा है कि इस एरिया में मेरी स्पेशलिटी नहीं है, I should not accept the engagement. But of course, I can take help from others, work done by others. Okay, for meeting the professional competence, I may take help of some other organization, use the work of some consultants or reference. The CFE should undergo a continuing professional education program, that is CPE. It is there in all professions. Continuous education, professional education, जिससे कुछ भी नया आ रहा है, नए laws, नए regulations, you get updated with that. Okay. Next is due professional care. Next point is due professional care. So what are we studying? These are the standards of conduct specified by the ACFE. They shall exercise due professional conduct in the performance of their services. That means you have to follow diligence, critically analyze things, maintain professional skepticism in your work. And whatever conclusion you are giving, you should have relevant supportive evidence for that. Fraud examination should be adequately planned. And work performed by assistants. Okay, so if I have a team, the work that is being performed by my assistants or other professionals, it should be properly supervised and reviewed. Next is understanding with client or employer. At the beginning only, we should reach at an understanding about the scope and limitations of my engagement. And what will be my responsibility and what will be the responsibility of the management. Everything should be cleared out at the beginning. Whenever the scope or limitations of a fraud examination or the responsibilities of party change significantly, बहुत हद तक change हो गया, new understanding shall be reached. Next is communication with client or employer. Any significant finding during the course of my audit, I should communicate with the client or employer. कोई भी आपको ऐसी बात पता चली, फैक्ट पता चला, आपको क्लाइंट और एम्प्लॉयर के साथ कम्युनिकेट करना है. नेक्स्ट इज कॉन्फिडेंशियलिटी. एज अ फॉरेंसिक ऑडिटर यू विल कम अक्रॉस अ लॉट ऑफ कॉन्फिडेंशियल डेटा अबाउट अ कंपनी, बट इसका मतलब ये नहीं उसको मार्केट में लीक कर दो. वी शुड ऑलवेज follow the confidentiality clause. Next is standards of examination. The first point is fraud examination, then evidence. We should conduct the fraud examination in a very legal and detailed manner. Professionally, we should conduct it, maintain professional skepticism, and we should establish the scope and our priorities. What should be the scope of my audit and should not go beyond that. Evidence, it should be our endeavor, okay, it should be our motive, and we should be driven to establish effective control and management procedures for documents, data and other evidence. Properly usko document karna, usko store karna. And the work of the CFEs may vary with circumstances of each fraud examination. The extent of documentation shall be subject to the needs and objectives of the engagement or of the client or employer. So these are the standards set for performance of the audit. Now standards for reporting. CFE's reports may be oral or written, generally they are written, including fact witness and expert witness testimony, statements dena hoga witnesses ka, and may take many different forms. There is no single structure or format that is prescribed for the report, but the report should not be misleading. And one very important thing is, report में आपको कोई भी opinion नहीं देनी है, कोई भी legal opinion नहीं देनी है that this person was found guilty. वो काम कोर्ट का है. आपका काम सिर्फ ये है कि आप investigation करो और अपनी report दो. Fact finding process है. आपको judge नहीं बनना है कि this person was found guilty and should be charged. Okay? So report content क्या होगा? It shall be based on the evidence that is sufficient and relevant to support the facts, conclusions, opinions, recommendations related to the fraud examination. No opinion shall be expressed regarding the legal guilt or innocence of any person or party. Judge नहीं बनना है हम लोगों को, ठीक है? Next, these are the code of ethics that the fraud examiner has to, certified fraud examiner has to follow. You can just go through it. It's almost the repetition of everything that we have done. A certified fraud examiner plays 3 essential roles: identifying evidence of fraud, conducting interviews and writing reports, and proactively evaluating the fraud risk of a business or organization. Did you understand? Yes, ma'am. The last topic is professional opportunities. This is the last topic of this chapter. So, forensic audit can be conducted by chartered accountants. It can be conducted by certified fraud examiners. Even your CMA Institute is offering an advanced diploma course. I will just show you. Where is it? Yes. Is offering an advanced diploma in forensic audit, which gives some insight on the subject and helps to improve your skill and knowledge of forensic audit. So after qualifying, if you feel like कि नहीं मुझे ऐसा कुछ काम करना है जिसमें बहुत minute observation is required and going into details, if you are by nature such a person who is good at this work, you can go for forensic audit. It has tremendous opportunities, I can tell you that. Okay, this part is very easy. You can go through it. Why there is need for forensic accountants, we have already done, because of increased corruption, extortion, bribery, and increased cases of frauds. Big companies are coming up who are engaging in frauds. The need of forensic accountants have increased. The forensic accountants can use tools of CATs, that is computer assistant audit techniques, financial data analytics, fraud triangle, to discover frauds and to investigate it further, to investigate the frauds and to discover them, right? So because of this, the need for forensic accountants has increased in how they can perform their work. Even as CMAs, you can work as forensic auditors. साइबर सिक्योरिटी, साइबर फोरेंसिक ऑडिट भी होती है when you know it comes to related to cyber, related to computerization of the entity. All right, so we have a chapter on that also, cyber security, which we'll be doing later. I hope this, so with this we complete this particular chapter. Rest everything is just for your reading purpose. You can go through the multiple choice questions, the sample questions that have been given. And as far as I have checked in the model question papers, the institute has given 2 model question papers for the new syllabus. No subjective question has been asked from this topic, but it does not mean that it will not be asked in the examination. I have already marked areas which I think are, areas from where institute may ask you questions. But irrespective of everything, this class was only an overview and a synopsis of the entire chapter. I hope now you will be comfortable when you go through the chapter on your own and learn it. All the very best for your examinations. In case you have any doubt, don't hesitate to write down in the comment section, and see you soon. Thank you so much.